Last week, I interviewed Rachel of the Eclectic Cottage in Spokane, Washington, and we discussed her small business journey. She is crazy talented and creates the most amazing vignettes that completely inspire me. If you want to hear tips and tricks of what it takes to open a storefront, then this is the one that you guys will want to take a listen to. Now, in this week's episode, I'm going to be discussing collaborating with other creatives on thrifting missions. Do I feel like I miss out on good finds because I'm thrifting with other fellow creatives who love thrifting as much as I do? Well, you're going to find out in today's episode. So let's dive in.
Welcome to the Rescued and Upcycled podcast with weekly inspiration, tips on trying new techniques, and overall real talk about owning your own DIY business. Now here's your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock.
Welcome back to Rescued and Upcycled. I'm your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock. I am so excited that you guys are all joining me today on my podcast. Now, this is episode 16, and if you are new here, welcome. Every other week, I interview different creatives or small business owners, and the opposite weeks, I love to chat about different aspects of owning or running your small business. Now, in today's episode, I am going to dive into collaborating on thrifting missions with other creatives. Do I feel like I'm missing out on some good finds by bringing along another fellow creative that loves thrifting as much as I do? Well, today you are going to find out my take on this topic. Have you ever been walking into a thrift store and you see a fellow thrifter or creative walking out with a cart full of goodies? Do you feel like they found all the good stuff? Should you even go inside? Did your excitement drop just a little bit? Well, tell me in the comments if you felt this way before. I've actually been the one walking out of a thrift store with a huge cart full of goodies, and I've ran into someone who recognizes me and they say the exact same words or those thoughts or words. Wow, I see you found all the good stuff. I shouldn't even waste my time going inside. There's probably nothing left. And I just laugh at this, you guys, because each of us are just looking for different items and have different creative visions when we are, when we actually go to the thrift store or when we actually see something sitting on the shelf. Honestly, two people can enter the exact same store and see the exact same things and then have two completely creative visions. And if you think about it, most of the time when you're headed to the thrift store, you have an idea of what you're looking for or what you want. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I just go in without needing anything. I'm just it's like a free for all day. But most of the time, I'm looking for a specific item to go with the vignette that I'm creating or really looking for something that I want to flip in an upcoming video. But there are those days, you guys, that I just go in and randomly need some inspiration and walk around. Now, if you've been following me long enough, you will know that I absolutely love meeting up with other creatives or content creators that go on thrifting missions. It is something that I have so much fun doing because collaborating with other creatives, it is fun. Since we both have that love of thrifting and then flipping the items that we find, it's great to collaborate and, really showcase how we both see things differently. Now, recently, on one of my collaborations I should say, on a recent collaboration that I've been doing with Connie from the Painted Photographer, we've been meeting up once a month. I've just been having so much fun doing this with her. And I hope that we continue to do this each and every month. And if you haven't heard, you guys, Connie is designing my rice papers for my maker's box. Now, she is crazy talented, and I just honestly feel so blessed that she said yes to being part of the maker's box. If you want to receive exclusive papers that can only be found in the maker's box, then you guys will want to get on my wait list. So if you haven't heard, I am launching or like doing a mini launch, I guess, for July. So if you want to be notified when I open up spots, I'll have the link in the description below. But now, since Connie and I are both from Wisconsin and we live so close to each other, we've been meeting up each month. We initially do the exchange of the papers, and it's just it was kind of our way of like, well, instead of paying shipping charges, we'll just meet up. But honestly, we just wanted to meet up and hang out and collaborate, and so that was like kind of like our excuse. So each month, what we've been doing is picking a different location that is about halfway between our homes. And once we pick that destination of choice, we map out that area, looking for, whatever different thrift stores, and then we pick a time to meet and get our thrift on. So the first month we hit up the Stevens Point area. We met for breakfast. We hit up several of the Goodwills and just had a great time. Now this last month we went over to Wausau and we hit up the first Goodwill, then we hit up another Goodwill. We had it all mapped out. We did lunch. It was just so fun. Um, but the first time that we met up and we went thrifting together, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how are we going to do this? Are we going to just walk down the aisles together and then fight for the good items? I honestly didn't think we'd actually fight for the good stuff, but also felt like we may be in a race to grab the best stuff. So I did ask her, how do you tackle a thrift store? And she said, well, when I enter the thrift store, I typically start in the home goods. And if you've been to a Goodwill, you'll know like the home goods aisles typically run the length of the store. And it starts like with glassware and then wood and then metal and all, it just continues on. So we both agreed that I would start on one side of the hard goods and she would start on the other, and we would just work our way through that. We typically meet up in the middle and, like regroup, have a little conversation, and then continue on. And then once we are done with that, we typically hit up like the furniture section, the blankets, pillows, and lastly, we always hit up the clothes section because in each area, there might be something good for us as well. But then after that, we group and we look at, what each of us has found. Now, I did mention earlier that initially thought it may be for, a fight for the best stuff, but it's really not like that at all. We honestly, what I've realized right away is we both have our very, just our own creative visions on what we're looking for. Plus, Connie is very is used to this thrift store in her area, that is like she pays like 39 cents, 29 cents. I mean, so when it's kind of funny because she's like, "Whoa, that price is really expensive." And when you're used to those great prices, I can see how like 7.99 would then seem expensive, which when she handed me something this last time, 7.99 was pushing it for me as well. But I laugh because she is even more frugal than I am when it comes to the prices, and I am really frugal, you guys. So I definitely have to hit up her thrift store sometime in the near future, especially after hearing those crazy good prices. But the last time we thrifted together was honestly one of the best times I've had thrifting. When we met up in Wausau, like I said, we hit up several of the local Goodwills and some smaller thrift stores and then an antique store. Now, while we were at one of the Goodwills, we had both gone through the entire store and then we met up to show each other what we had found. And I love seeing what her vision is for the items in her cart. And then I love to find out what she thinks about what I have found and like my vision for my items. Well, I was telling her about some upcoming videos that I was putting together and some of the stuff that I had been looking for, and I just didn't seem to find. And she's like, "Oh, wait, I saw that, over back here." And then we went back there and she found some of the items I was looking for. I was like, "Oh my word." And then she's like, "Oh, and I saw this item over here." And we went from aisle to aisle and we just brainstormed together and came up with some of the best ideas for my upcoming video. It's really great to see just a different creative perspective on like what, I gave her like what my vision was and then we worked together. Another way that we, basically collaborated and came up with some different ideas. And that is another reason when I go live on I go live on YouTube and on Facebook 3 times a week, and typically, on one of my lives at least, I like to poll you guys and get your ideas on different items. Yes, I do have a creative vision and I know what I want to do with the item, but sometimes just getting somebody else's perspective really helps with the creative process. Sometimes you just are so, like you have a vision and you can't see beyond that, but when somebody else gives an idea, it just sparks a new vision. And that's what I love about my lives so much. I know that I've been told a few times like, "Oh, you're totally unprepared." No, I am not unprepared. I know what I want to do, but I also want to hear what other people's creative visions are as well. It helps me, sometimes get out of a rut even. But I was just astounded, you guys, at the different items that she saw that I completely overlooked. And it just amazes me that, I did overlook some of these items and just how she saw it in a totally completely different way than I did. So if you think about it, it is honestly crazy how two sets of eyes can look at something and then just come up with two different visions. So, again, as you're entering that thrift store, you may see something that I may not. And as I edit my videos, I honestly, when I take video footage of like the thrift store as I'm scanning the shelves and when I'm editing, I'm like, how did I miss that piece? Like, how did I miss this? Or even my customers or my viewers will say, "Oh my gosh, I hope you grab that." Like, they see things that I don't even see, when I'm editing. So, it's just crazy. And that's what I love about collaborating though, you guys. We both have the same interest. We love thrifting and flipping, and we are here to support each other too. The one thing I try to do is really just surround myself with like-minded creatives and creators, and that's what I want these people that I surround myself with to have the feeling of supporting and encouraging each other and are truly happy with each other's successes. And I have definitely found that in the community of creators that I hang out with. And I can honestly say that I can call each and every one of them my friends. It's so important to find a community like this because it can get pretty lonely, you guys. If you are in the mindset that everyone is your competition, you will never have any true friends. And honestly, there is so much love to go around in this the creative community. And I feel like everybody should just, support and encourage each other. And that is what I try to do all the time. That is why I love bringing on different creatives on my podcast because, yes, I can help them grow their channels and grow their community. And like I said, you know what? You are going to find your people that love you and support you and, that are going to stick with you. And just because you're showcasing another creative does not mean you're going to lose your people. So, that is just like my little tidbit on that. But in the end, my overall, like as you guys, have heard throughout this whole podcast, or my overall thought or take on this is There are so many goodies in each thrift store, and we all look at items completely different. Thrift away with whoever you want, and you will both end up with a cart full of goodies. So, I love doing this, and I am hoping to have more collaborations in the future with hopefully other people from Wisconsin, other creatives that I can meet up with very easily. I mean, I guess I could go to like Illinois or Michigan, but it's more convenient being in the state, I guess. So it's been a lot of fun meeting up with Connie, and if you guys haven't yet, you need to go over and give her a follow on, her Facebook. She's on YouTube. Like I said, she is super creative, and she does Whiskey Wednesdays. I have done an interview with her as well. Now, I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's episode, and go out and collaborate with another fellow creator. You guys are going to have such a fun experience with that. And now, in next week's episode, you guys, I am interviewing Jen from Rustic Rehabs, and she is another fellow Wisconsinite. She has a shop in Menominee Falls, and we'll be discussing how she went from being in the corporate world to opening her own small business. It is a crazy conversation, and I cannot wait to introduce you to Jen. So, if you guys are listening on any of the podcast platforms, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on an episode. If you are watching me over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and let me know what you guys are thinking about the podcast in the comments. And remember, you can always find me over on Instagram and Facebook. I'm also on Pinterest, where I push out a ton more content on all those platforms as well. So if you want to go give me some love over there, definitely head on over to Sonnet's Garden Blooms and do that. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.